Hi, I'm Carcina.
Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Uh, well, about a year ago, it went under the radar because it was overshadowed by Kendrick Lamar and Drake battle. But the biggest thing in 2022 was Will Smith slapping the dog piss out of Chris Rock. Now, ever since this has happened, with keep your wife's name out my effing mouth, and all the Patreons, y'all get to see this first. A lot of different things and elements took place that just ruined the night for Chris. And he has been reluctant to be out in the public since. You know, you see him at some Nick games every now and then, but he kind of dips out and acts real weird now. And that's what he said. That's one of the times, and it was a moment in time where you're dealing with something that's very personal and family, and it's done in front of everybody else. You know, and that's kind of how everybody was putting it, you know. And Cedric the Entertainer was talking about the incident and was like, you know, it was just real bad. Everybody want to see them make up and, you know, be cool again. But here's the big problem in the scenario. Here's the big effing problem. Jada. Jada Pinkett Smith is the reason that this whole situation is gonna go left. She's not gonna be willing to forgive. You think she's ready to forgive Chris? No. In her mind, Chris Rock is obsessed with her. He wants her. When Will and her broke up, Chris wanted to move in and date her, according to her. That's her move. That's her play. Is to play victim. Instead of saying, well, Will shouldn't have done that. Will does that, goes off, hauls off, smacks the man. Right? Smacks the man. And all of a sudden, we have nothing but problems. And then after that fact, after all this goes down, she said, I didn't tell him to do that. That's on him. She steps away from her own husband and left him out there like that was his decision. I didn't give him a sign to do that. Now, a lot of things were transpiring that um, wasn't common. You got a lot of stupid people that roll around like they're gonna get a junior G-Man badge for doing something. But let me tell you like it is. Because there's so many haters out there, so many fools running around doing nothing. Let me explain to you what's really happening out here in the game. Okay? All these people who had the motives rather, to do something in this situation, they didn't do it. Like agents, managers. Normally they get people together and they fix this problem. But this is a problem that people had to fix on themselves. Will goes live and gives out an apology when he's not ready to apologize. He doesn't even know how to do it. He's not apologizing because he's sorry. He's apologizing because he's getting all the bad press. So, of course, Chris isn't going to accept it. You do about a whole half an hour trying to make yourself the victim, then say, I'm sorry, Chris, at the end of it. You know, it's not going to win over anybody. It's only going to make you look weak. So Will didn't have the right people around him in handling that situation. Now, Tony Rock, who was really close with Will, like they worked together. So, like, Will put him on his TV show. He was like the closest to Will than Chris was. And Chris was mostly around Jada than he was Will. Like, they were doing the Madagascars together. They did a lot of projects together, you know, so they've always supported each other. So she'll be around Chris and, you know, and Will wouldn't even be around. Will wasn't always up under Jada like that, especially when she's working. Now, there's so many people that try to get everybody to hate. They want them to hate this. They want them to hate that. Everybody. It's hate everything now. That's the new narrative. That's the new cool. You just gotta hate. That's all you gotta do when you're in the house. Now here's what nobody was telling you. All right. Chris Rock just wanted to let this thing go. After Chris got slapped, he was so down. He was so embarrassed and hurt. Dude went, cried, wanted to hope nobody saw him, dipped out the whole ceremony early, didn't go to no parties afterwards. He just dipped. Like, he wasn't the main host. He was just there for that one segment, and that was it. And he just went home and did a damn bag of coke. A bag. A bag of blow. So, to get his mind right. Then he was by himself, got angry, texting people, angry. The anger starts coming in later, you know, coke rage. So he starts going off angry, then he calmed back down, then he fell out at 9 o'clock in the morning. Then mom asking him, is he all right? And he has to, get himself ready to talk to mom. So, they wanted Will made a public apology when there was actually some other people who I'm not going to name, other actors in the game and comedians who told him, look here, Will, you're like a brother to me. You're still my guy. And Chris is my other brother. And we're comedians, and this is what we do. This is our job, and when we're on that stage, that's our thing. So, telling jokes is how we heal. And Chris is going to tell jokes. He's going to tell jokes about it once he starts feeling better. So don't get all upset in your feelings when you hear your name in a whole bunch of jokes. Because I don't want you to try to come on stage and slap me. But I feel you should at least reach out at some time. Not now, because he won't hear you. But eventually, you should reach out. And you definitely should reach out to his mother. So it was suggested by a comedian that he reach out and talk to the mom, Chris Rock's mother, who told and gave her disdain to what had happened. And Will felt bad about that part because he didn't even think about that. Tony took it to another level, and Will was so upset with Tony after Tony's words for him and to say it in the way he did it. He said it as if you was never my friend anyway, if you would talk like that about me. Even for stand-up, he felt that was a little too harsh. And said, it's even if him and Chris patch things up, like the Tony thing is damaged forever. He think Tony Rock, that thing he's talking about, that went further than what he ever imagined, because him and Tony was actually the close friends more than Chris was. Like, even when Chris did what he did, he didn't hold that against Tony. Now, everybody's upset. Sorry about that. I had to yawn. Nobody really understands that when you look at the game, it was crazier than you can ever imagine. Really, it was crazier than you ever imagined. If Will Smith didn't like Chris Rock in any type of way, shape, or form, This wasn't even at work. Chris Rock had everybody blowing up his phone. You remember, I got his agent number. Like, I got Chris Rock's agent number and everything so we can sit down and talk to Chris. Chris is not what everybody thinks. You know, this ain't Bring the Pain Chris no more. This is Chris that hangs out with Seinfeld and you know, he's with the Jewish people now. He does not roam around with the brothers like that. Those days are over. You know, Chris is rolling with them. They're keeping Chris paid. You know, when you saw Chris Rock in Grown Ups, you knew it was a whole different movement going on for Chris. Chris was very gifted in his stands up. A lot of his stand-ups are very gifted. Always been a talented comedian. He always wanted to do something with Will Smith in an acting position, but Chris is just not a good actor. He tries hard, but he just doesn't. It's certain roles that he tries to play that is just not him. He tries to show that he has range. He's just not believable in the part. Like, he had to produce that Saw movie because no one would have casted him. No one would have casted him. Nobody would have casted him for those roles. That Spiral movie, that was crazy. So I do see Chris and Will one day, you know, patching things up, but it's gonna be at the behest of Jada. You know, she's still gonna snarl, and she just needs to step back and let two men handle their problem and have a conversation. Because you keep saying it ain't about you, then don't make it about you. Stay out of it. Will was upset with the special. He knew it was coming. And Will kind of felt like, well, you know, I knew my slap was coming, and I guess that was it. So the thing is that he did a tour basically using those same jokes. You know, everybody else was getting their jokes off, and he was like, man, I didn't even get my joke off. Well, we'll see. You know, it's a lot of antsy people out there. They're antsy. They want to get it on so bad. They want something to happen. They want to get it bracking, as y'all be saying. They want to get all of this stuff going. They love some drama. And Jada believed, man, Chris Rock just loves me so much. I mean, look. I'm like, look, man. It might have been true. Chris might have tried to hit back in the day. Who knows? You know, Chris was a hound dog. Like if they did a whole thing on Chris, no. All right, Chris was a poon hound for a while, man. Like he wasn't lying when he was talking about putting women through collars and all that. He's a poon hound. I ain't mad at him for it. I'm just saying that's what he was doing ever since the divorce. Is what got him divorced. He wanted to be that married man, be at home with the daughters until he actually was that married man at home with the daughters. And that was starting to weigh on him. And he's like, I want to be back out there. While I still got some game left, I want to get back in the game. So all those movies he was making, I Think I Love My Wife, and he want to remake Death at a Funeral. You know, he wanted to, I want to make all these movies and different roles. And next thing you know, he went from too black to too white overnight. You ain't even know who the hell that Chris Rock was no more. They was like, this ain't Bigger and Blacker. Well, I wish, but that's not the case. Mm-hmm. When people don't announce or have an understanding as to what's going on, well, when things go a certain way, you know, they go a certain way. That's all to it. What the hell? I'll be there. It ain't one thing, it's enough. No. Well, Chris Rock didn't get the movie deal he thought he was going to get because because you know most of the comedians he was thinking he was going to be Jim Carrey. He was going to have the Jim Carrey route. But he didn't have the Jim Carrey route. Well, he didn't he's not a physical comedian like that. Like John Ritter or Jim Carrey. He couldn't like his sketch comedy is cool, but he's not a physical comedian. He doesn't know how to do physical comedy. So him doing the Jim Carrey route wasn't gonna work. So he would have to be a serious artist. So he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do like what Eddie did and turn this whole thing around. So once that didn't happen, then everybody in the industry decided, let's turn up, let's do this, let's do that, let's Let's change the narrative. Let's move from here to there. Let's go ahead and make this about us. Let's find a way to continuously making this about us instead of what it truly is. Jada Pinkett's brother, Caleb, he was really upset with Chris Rock messing with his sister and everything else. And, he still is upset about it. Like, Caleb was very upset. Jada's brother, Caleb. He's actually an executive producer to Cobra Kai, the series on Netflix. Will and Jada is responsible for that show as well, but they stay clear away from everything. Their names are up there. As you can see, Will has always got a piece. Well, when you have people that understand and love what you do and move, the way you like to move, then you can understand why some people can say, certain things and other people just don't. It just is what it is. No, I mean, if Will get it back in there with him, with Chris, and they work together, that would be beautiful. If not, they both can go their separate ways. That works also. Well, here's the thing that they never wanted to show people. They never wanted to show you black people coming together and doing something. So when Chris said this last year, Drake and Kendrick controlled everything, right? Then all of a sudden, all of these acts started to happen and transpire, right? All of this attention started to go. Then all of the attention and everything just started to die. Nothing was working the same. So everybody pivoted. Will just got himself back, with doing Bad Boys 4, the fourth installment of that, and that was so successful for Will. People don't even care that he slapped Chris Rock now. They don't even care. Now everybody thinking like, well, he kind of deserved it. Now nobody feels sorry for Chris no more because we have become desensitized with anything anymore, unless it's a big public outcry. If we don't have multiple people signing on to say, oh, this is a bad thing, this is a bad thing, this is a bad thing, if we're not all doing it at once, then it doesn't matter. That's how they make it feel. You need to have masses of people saying it in order for it to be taken seriously. I feel so great about the whole turnout, everything. So I have zero plans, zero of dealing with unsavory human beings. Yeah, well, after people go through these situations, then they can get back to everybody being normal. And sometimes normal just ain't normal. But shit, man, nobody really care about Chris no more. He's dead. He's dead weight. You're dead weight, Chris. You there to be smacked. It'd be funny if they meet up and we'll slap him again, man. That'd be funny as hell. I would laugh my ass off. I ain't gonna lie. We'll slap him again. We'll be yeah, strange thing, man. I mean, I just have a bad case with dude. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did sit down with Chris and I was going to apologize and I don't know what came over me. I think I need to go see the Daily Llama again and go talk with him because I'm just not myself when I'm around this person because, I slapped him with the other hand this time. It's just real strange. I know I'm laughing, but it's not a laughing situation. I'm really confused why I just slapped him again. I mean, I don't know, but it's like to me, Chris Rock is looking more and more like Pookie from New Jack. The older he get, the more he look like Pookie. You know how Pookie was when he was all smoked out after the Rocks? And he looked like he was like 30 years older. Chris Rock is looking just like Pookie right now. Oh, yeah. Man, take Ice-T there with you next time, man. That'll help you. He'll be, man, I'm going to make sure Pookie didn't get slapped for nothing. You owe, Pook. You owe. All right, man, I'm getting out of here. Y'all done got me talking about this way too much. I don't even know how we went this long. How about?